We are back for the second game here today at Dartmouth College in Hanover, New Hampshire at the New Look Lead Arena. Dartmouth a chance to defend home court for one final time at the Dartmouth Invitational. They have risen to the task so far with wins against Providence and Quinnipiac, and they look to end perfect at their home invitational with a win today against the Saints of Siena. My name is Brandon Bajarski. Next to me is Ryan Zimmerman, and we couldn't be more excited after what was a great game in the 1 o'clock slot for this current game starting now at 4 o'clock.
Yeah, Providence and Quinnipiac played an excellent 5-set match. And that's just the preamble to what could be a great day of volleyball here in Hanover. Dartmouth, big wins over Providence and Siena, 4 sets and 5 sets respectively. And they can finish off a perfect weekend heading into Ivy League play if they can finish Siena off. What a boost of momentum that would be.
For Siena, taking full advantage of the new rule in Division I volleyball this year with 2 liberos. You don't see that a ton. You didn't see that at all last year, I should say. It wasn't allowed, but this year allowed to dress 2 players in the libero uniform and switch them out. So Siena will be the first team that we've seen this season in Dartmouth, at least, to operate that strategy.
It's an interesting look for sure to have 2 defensive specialists wearing that libero jersey, but for Siena, not off to the best start, 1-9 through their first 10 matches. Might as well try and shake things up and figure out the combinations you need in order to take on a tough MAC.
For Dartmouth, a very similar lineup to what we've seen in other games. Kawani Goots, Piper Stevens, the 2 outside hitters. Tasman Mullins, do a little bit of everything. She can set, she can attack. We have Emma Simon up front with Emma Ingstrom at the libero position.
I'm excited to see how Emma Simon does in a starting role. Came on in the 4th set last night against Quinnipiac and helped turn the tides in that match, turning that 2-0 first 2-set deficit into a 3-2 5-set win.
Ready to get us underway is Sarah Wagner, the Polish senior outside hitter. Here's the setup, come across for Piper Stevens, plays it into the block, able to save it back up. 50-50, not sure if Simon got a piece. Trying to play that one was Turoslow, but I think it went straight into the net.
I think so, and there's enough of presence that really helped Dartmouth get into a winning position last night, off to a strong start, 1 point in.
Serve here for Murphy. Trying to set this one up is Isaacson. That attack, too much on it from the back line. That was Wagner looking for the kill. Wagner, a Skyhawk Invitational and Red Flash Classic all-tourney team member the first 2 tournaments of the season. She's been terrific. 3 kills per set, but a little bit too much on that one.
A bit, but we'll see her in attacking positions throughout the day.
Ingstrom the clean dig. Murphy. Kawani Goots has been the go-to as that one goes over and Tasman Mullins finishes it. Mullins, just such a good story, right? You look, had only played 5 games due to some injury issues through her first 3 seasons. This year, she's in the lineup every night, and she's putting up numbers.
That's a big part of Dartmouth's project going forward. I'm sure head coach Kevin Maureen Campbell would love to have her healthy the rest of the year to complement the already impressive pieces they have in place. She could be the reason they make it to the Ivy League tournament this year.
That's certainly the goal for Dartmouth, projected to finish 6th. They actually dropped a spot in the preseason poll compared to where they were last year when they did the same thing. They finished 5th last season. That's going to be a service ace, so back-to-back plays are going to be made by Siena Turoslow.
Again, though, I don't think anyone in white or black on this Dartmouth side really pays attention to those preseason rankings. They're just going to go out, play their game, and if they shock some people in the process, well, then they do.
Simon skies the attack, so Dartmouth a quick 3-0 run, but Siena finds the response. Turoslow, the redshirt senior middle blocker, such a terrific player, is fifth in the Metro Atlantic Conference in total blocks and 7th in blocks per set last season, so definitely a player that can impact the front of the net defensively, and right there she gets a dig. Now here's an attack off the fingertips, and the kill picked up for Siena off the hand of Salme Adila Hollis, the Estonian, member of the Estonian women's national team. It's been her first year with Tartu University. Now, they don't have an athletics program, but she was able to come out. That counts as a redshirt freshman year, or first year, I should say, and she's contributing as well for the Saints team. Here's the setup. And that was too far from the intended target. I think they were trying to run a quick set there to Ella Treasure, but a little bit too much on it off the hands of Isaacson.
How about that for a transition? Going from a university in your own hometown, she is from Tartu, Estonia, all the way across the world to Loudonville, New York. But she has made herself right at home in Siena, and she figures to be a big piece of this Siena program going forward.
9 kills, 8 digs in the game against Providence. Murphy has trouble, can't dig that one out, and once again, that's Adila Hollis picking up the kill. Had only played 2 games going into that game against Providence, against Syracuse and Idaho, I should say. Back to serve now is Olivia Matyka. Another player from Poland, the sophomore setter. Into the game for Isaacson. And immediately makes her mark with a service ace. So Dartmouth going to have to try and find a way to respond here. LMA Fitzgerald did check in for Piper Stevens moments ago. She'll provide some defensive support. An interesting look from Dartmouth. Only going to line up those 2 players. Libero, defensive specialist here for the receive, and it'll never get there as that one hits the net and goes straight down.
Service errors were a big reason Dartmouth got back into the match last night against Quinnipiac. They had 11 throughout that match. And we talked about it all last night. We talked about it all throughout that Providence-Quinnipiac match earlier today. You're giving away free points. You're also providing some momentum.
This one off the fingertips of the block, kept alive and over the net. Good play there. Ingstrom with the first touch. Kawani Goots with the second. Now Mullins a dig. Set up across. Kawani Goots off the fingertips. And just a little bit out of the reach of Matyka. Point Dartmouth.
Sometimes all you need is a little luck. Dartmouth 2 points in a row, 1 off a service error, and 1 with the ball taking a fortuitous hop off the net. We'll see if that gets the big green rolling.
First touched up there off the receive by Robertson. That attack had too much on it off the hand of Wagner. Look at this team. A number of players from different places. Amelia Robertson, one of those transfers, transferred over from Tyler Junior College, where she averaged 2.5 digs per set and had 32 service aces last season. Serve from Ingstrom. Played high up in the air, and it's going to be set back, played over with 2 hands. Fitzgerald, terrific job. Murphy sets it up for Kawani Goots. Diving play by Robertson on the dig. Now a back line attack, and that one is skied by Wagner. Twice now they've tried to go to that back line attack, and twice they put too much on it. Sometimes it's difficult, right? Because you can't really play it straight down. You got to put enough on it to get it above the net, and as a result, they skied it. Timeout taken by Siena.
Dartmouth will learn her lesson, just how good Lafada can be. Now you see her in rotation in set number 1.
Communities for decades. We take the time to get to know our clients.
Right now, it's an attack for Siena that does not. Oh, they're going to overturn that. The near side official said it had not been touched. Side judge overrules it. Point for Siena.
That's a big break for the Saints. Anything you can have go your way against a team as good as Dartmouth, you need it, especially early on when you're trying to establish the tone and show that you are here to play for more than just. I got caught up, but that you're here to play.
Set up for Lafada off the block. Picked up that time by Sarah Wagner. Wagner, a high of 18 kills this season. Happened against an Ivy opponent in Penn. Also had
at the St. Francis Invitational, too, so on another neutral site matchup.
That was a game that went the full 5 sets, including extra time in the 5th set, with a 17-15 set victory for Penn, who ultimately came away with the victory. This one's going to be set across for the attack, and it's blocked by Molly Power. Power and Simon trying to fill the big shoes vacated by Amelia Gibbs and Bumi Ogunlari, and they've done well in their time so far this season.
They've looked good, and they've had to be in order to get Dartmouth off to this good start, 6-2 through their first 8 matches. That doesn't happen by accident. The players have come in, filled the roles. It's that next woman up mentality for this team.
Seen that as well with the way that the rotation has changed a little bit too. New players being added. Lafada was out yesterday. Now she's in. There's just a lot of different ways and a lot of different pieces you can put together. Diving effort by Kawani Goots, but sails on her. So the point will come back the way of the Saints, and we're even 10-10. Should be noted, Dartmouth 1 in 4 sets against Providence, 1 in 5 sets against Quinnipiac, but they have yet to win a first set in those 2 matches. They've lost both the first set, so perhaps a little bit of a slow starter for this team, but still even here in the first set.
Obviously, Dartmouth is happy with the wins, but you don't want to see a trend like that continue, and hopefully against Siena for them, that can get them off on the right track with Ivy League play on the horizon.
Mullen's going to try and set back. Lafada goes off the top of the block, and a block error that time. I believe they caught the net, so that'll go against number 7, Sarah Wagner, and Dartmouth will pick up the point and the lead.
It's another one of those unforced errors, kind of like in tennis. Your opponent doesn't have to do anything extra to beat you. You're just beating yourself, and sometimes that's all a team needs in order to get going.
Lafada the first touch. This will be set up to Simon. Dartmouth going to try and ride that momentum. As that one off the top of the block, Mullen's got a piece. Goots off of one knee, able to get back up and send it to Lafada, who plays it over. Robertson first touch. Isaacson trying to play it back. Wagner had to play it over with 2 hands and will be whistled for that one. So you can use that to set the ball, but when you play it over, that's where the violation might ensue, and got called for it that time.
Yeah, and the Dartmouth bench, I was so impressed with them last night with the energy they brought, and they brought it again today. That's got to be one of the most creative chants I've heard. I'll have a double-double with a side of fries, but my delivery wasn't as good as theirs.
And, they're a team, and you see it every year with them, with the choreographed celebrations. You can tell they take the time. They have some for specific players, specific situations. They prepare the celebrations because when you have great plays, you got to celebrate.
It's all about energy. They say that celebrations aren't a good part of the game. I disagree.
My favorite part. Siena trying to win this volley. Attack blocked by Piper Stevens.
I mean, just look at the group celebrations in the NFL, how fun those have become as of late.
Well, the No Fun League trying to find ways to ramp up the excitement, and they did make that change a couple of years ago where they started to allow group celebrations. I feel like that's something that should have always been a part of the game. Murphy fires this one over, played up by Robertson and sent across. Has to play it over. Goots to Murphy. Stevens will try again. Backing up the play was Wagner. Isaacson tries to dump that one into the back corner, but able to retreat and get it was Kawani Goots. Stevens attack off the top of the block. They'll set back up. This attack gets through the block off the hands of Savinska, but kept alive for Dartmouth. Stevens thwarted by Isaacson. Set high up in the air. Backline attack by Wagner. There is Goots. Murphy. Simon. Too much on it. Inches away from that back right corner, but sailed it just a touch.
Not quite a cross-court swing, setting up dead set in the middle of the court. I like what Simon was doing, but sometimes you just have to restrain yourself a bit. You can't always go full power every single time.
That one catches the net and bounces back, so Dartmouth gets the point right back. 14-12. Fitzgerald in for Piper Stevens, and Siena will be ready to try and receive this one. Ella Treasure back into the game as well, the middle blocker from Rochester, New York. Here's the setup. Trying to find Treasure. Tough angle, and she makes it work regardless. Actually, apologies. That was Adela Hollis on the kill that time. Not 14, 11 picking up the kill.
Salme Adela Hollis has made an immediate impact on this match. Already her 3rd kill in just 5 attempts. 3.5 points already for the Estonian international.
And she has really stepped up in recent games for the Saints. Has been great at this tournament, and just in time too, because same case for both these two teams as the last two, in that they will have their first conference game following this one.
And that's the case for every team playing in this tournament. This is the last of the invitationals for really all of college volleyball, with conference play on the horizon. And that's a really cool thing about these tournaments. You get to see some of those non-traditional matchups, although this is one that happens more often than not.
That attack by Mullins finds the back line, and Dartmouth picks up the point. Looking ahead for Dartmouth, they will play Harvard on the 27th, and because of that matchup, the way the Ivy does their travel, it's only one game on the weekend, so they scheduled a non-conference game against Bryant on the 28th. So good opportunity for them there next weekend against those two teams. Tapped up in the air by Goots, and difficulties there, narrowly evading the antenna that time on the attack was Adila Hollis.
And if I'm not mistaken, that is Dartmouth's final non-conference game. It's interesting how it goes. You're playing it after your conference opener, but kind of serves as a buffer, right? You don't have the game you want against Harvard. You have one more opportunity to get right against Bryant, who will provide a good challenge.
And Cornell would be the team they play at home for the first time in Ivy play, as that one gets through. Kill picked up there for Wagner. But for Dartmouth, that game against Cornell will be pivotal because it will be Cornell and Harvard that are really fighting Dartmouth for that fourth spot. Brown could be in the mix for that as well if you extend out to the 3 and 4 spots. And then I do think Yale and Princeton should be in a good position to try and take those top 2 seeds, but obviously you never really know until the season begins.
Yeah, and you only have 14 conference matches, so you need to make sure that you're at your best every single time, and that's why you schedule games like Bryant to give you more opportunities to get to your best.
And speaking of best, that was a terrific job on the block by Molly Power to knock that one down. She has been terrific, and you look at the numbers, Molly Power, one of the best on the team in blocks per set, 1.29 blocks per set coming into this weekend stretch, and I'm sure that those numbers have only gone up with the way she's played. Serve here from Mullins. Difficulties, able to get it over. Here's the setup, quick attack by Power, blocked on the one-on-one by Treasure. Now Lafada, blocked once again, that time by Wagner. Kwani Goots gets it over, one-handed dig. Saints staying alive as they play this one over the top. Engstrom is there. Mullins across, Kwani Goots once again dug out and played over and up and back once again. Both teams refused to concede this point, but finally the attack had a little bit too much on it off the hand of Doa Diraz.
Diraz saw some space at the edge of the court. I like the idea of trying to stretch Dartmouth out long, but too much on it.
Siena will take the timeout. That'll be their last of the first period, but you look at their schedule so far. Team record of 1-9, finished 2-26 last year, trying to continue to just build up and get better. What is it going to take for this team to kind of take that next step?
Unforced errors are a big part of that, cleaning up on that. And you just look at their statistics from this first set. 3 service errors, a block error, 8 kill errors. That needs to change if Siena wants to be competitive. The best teams are the ones that make the fewest mistakes.
And I mean, you look at their team stats, the opponents are hitting over 25% against them, a high rate, especially when you look at the overall season of work. But they've had their moments this year, and I think they are a bit better than the record would indicate. 2 5-set losses against Mercyhurst and Penn at the Red Flash Classic. They also had a game against Idaho where they were able to take the first set 25-13 before dropping the next 3, losing 3-1. So they've had flashes, they've had moments. They're a team going into the Metro Atlantic that more so towards the bottom of the preseason poll, but a chance to try and outperform that and try and get towards the middle of the pack.
Well, it's baby steps. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen just magically. These are the steps you have to take. And like it is the case with a lot of these teams, you're playing in tournaments like this to get you on the right track.
So Fitzgerald's in the game for Dartmouth, and back to serve for the Big Green will be Tasman Mullins. And that finds the back line. Amelia Robertson ducked out of the way at the last second, and no touch ace there for Dartmouth.
That's a true judgment call, and Robinson decided at the very last second to back away.
Mullins another serve. Robertson plays this one. Set up for the attack. Blocked by Power. And once again, you see the reflexes on some of those middle blockers where they will move that offhand ever so slightly when they anticipate where the attacker is going.
Dartmouth is just so smart on the court. Feels like they always know where that ball is going to be and how to position themselves to be in the best position either to receive on the attack or to swing themselves.
This one's going to get through for the kill. Picked up that time by D-Raz, the Oregon State transfer, who was good last year for them. 3 service aces, 6 digs against North Dakota. Played in 38 different sets that season for them.
That's a big get out of the portal for head coach Simone Ascufavia as she continues to rebuild this team. Players are starting to realize that Siena is a good place to go, and Ascufavia can coach them up, make them better players.
Yeah, and I mean, she has experience as well in the Metro Atlantic right now Metro Atlantic, the Big East with Seton Hall, where she was the assistant coach last year. She also spent time with Coastal Carolina, NJIT, and UIC. And another kill, this time in the center by Siena Toroslo.
And she's a coach who can take an active hands-on approach too in practice. She can show you exactly how to do it because she's gotten it done in the past. Back in her playing days, she was an all-ACC talent at Virginia.
Terrific. And it's always, sometimes you see that, it's just, you find a terrific player, all those numbers from the college days, and then they're able to translate that in a way that they can teach the new generation, as this one's played over the top by LaFada out of play. Good run here by Siena, 21-18. Dartmouth still has both their timeouts. Now, still not super close, but another point or two for Siena. Those timeouts might become a factor. Here's a setup by Mullins. Attack by Power gets through, and the kill for the Big Green.
I hate to make the pun here, but Power used finesse. All she needed was that slight finger tap. There was a lot of spots to work with in the middle of the court, and Power alertly saw it and took advantage.
That serve actually skinned the net, was punched over the top by Isaacson. Mullins across, Stevens blocked, and good catch by Kevin Marine Campbell on the sideline as that redirected off of 2 Dartmouth players and out of play.
Good hands. One-handed that too.
One-handed catch. It is Sunday.
Channeled her inner OBJ.
Inner OBJ. I'd like to thank you once again for joining us. Terrific game so far. Siena trying to stay in it. Just picked up that point. Still anyone's set early on, 22-19, the edge for Dartmouth so far. Looking to pick up, this would be their first set victory of their tournament. This one's played up and set up for LaFada, right down the line. Maddie LaFada loves those shots straight down the line, and they have been so successful for her as she'll check out, replaced by Karen Murphy, who will proceed back to serve.
Picking up right where she left off last night. When she came into the match in that third set, a switch flip for this Dartmouth team. This time around, they're just putting her in the game right away, and she's helping set the tone instead of having to spark the comeback.
Terrific dig by Kawani Goots. It went over, and Simon was able to block it, and the point for the Big Green.
Yeah, it's a block error there for Siena on the net violation. It's those little mistakes that continue to pile up for Siena. Now Dartmouth has themselves a set point.
Good read, though, by Simon on that play, because she was able to get in position and make that difficult on what Siena was trying to turn into easy points. 24-19. Set point for Dartmouth, and but it's been a very quick set one here today. Played over by Murphy. Played high up in the air. Set up, quick attack, and it finds the Dartmouth side of the court off the hand of Turoslo. The redshirt senior making another impact. Siena now needs 4 straight points to stay alive, as Turoslo will now be on the back line serving. Attack by Stevens had too much on it. So there's one of the points they needed as they look to keep this going. Boots the receive. Murphy the set. Stevens the attack. Skims off the top of the block. Wagner was there. Quick setup. Played over by Treasure. Didn't get all of that one. Dartmouth looking to set up. It's Mullins. She's blocked, but Ingstrom, what a play to keep that alive. Mullins goes again and puts too much on it.
Stevens thought there was a tip at the net, but no, she just got a little too much on it. Give Siena a lot of credit, forcing Dartmouth to use a timeout, as they just haven't found a way to close out this set just yet.
24-20 when Siena came up to serve and rattled off 2 quick points there. So good fight by the Saints, looking to try and steal the set. They lost in straight sets against Providence, 15-25, 23-25, and then same thing, 23-25 again in set number 3.
Yeah, even though they lost in straight sets, that's the thing about volleyball. You're never out of it. They played competitive all 3 sets, and that's what they're going to do. They're learning how to compete. They're learning how to keep it close. And for the Saints and head coach Simone Askew-Favia, the next step is learning how to turn those close losses into close wins.
And they've had some very close losses, almost beaten Ivy opponent in Penn, as I mentioned before. They actually were up 2-0 in that one. They took the first 2 sets 25-21, 25-22. For Dartmouth, though, looking to take this one 25-22 out of the timeout. Talked a bit before, too. It's always tough. As the server out of the timeout, you have that break to really think about it. And for Turoslo, no margin of error for this serve right now. Gotta find a way to put it over and try and give Dartmouth some problems. Boots to Murphy. Set up for Simon. Skims off the top of the net, and that will do it. Dartmouth takes set 1, 25-22. Set was close, but it felt like Dartmouth able to pull away towards the end and roll to a set 1 victory.
Kind of shades of last night. Dartmouth found themselves in close scenarios against Quinnipiac, but they figured out how to get those last few points, and that's continuing on here in the first set today.
We'll be right back with set number 2 here from Hanover. Terrific set for the Big Green, paced by, once again, a well-balanced attack. 3 players with 2 kills in Molly Power, Maddie Lafada, and Tasman Mullins. So we saw that yesterday, too, where in that 5-set win against Quinnipiac, not one player with double-digit kills.
Yeah, that's what's made their attack so potent throughout this Dartmouth Invitational. You don't know where the final swing is going to come from. There are so many players on this Dartmouth team. We didn't even mention Kawani Goots. She had double-digit kills, I believe, against Providence in Game 1. But there's just so many angles that Dartmouth can attack you from, so many options. So it's hard to key in on just one player.
On the flip side for Siena, they've been paced by Salme Adila Hollis. She's got 5 kills and only 8 swings. And Ryan, Siena kept it close in that first set. What do they have to do to try and take set number 2?
I hate to sound like a broken record, but you have to get rid of the unforced errors.
Yep.
They had 4 service errors in that first set, 9 attack errors on top of that. You can't just give away points. If they're going to beat you, make them earn it. Make them have to do it thanks to a good swing, to a well-timed block. Don't just give points away.
Well, it should be noted as well, right? To your point, 4 service errors. Dartmouth had 1. The difference in the first set, 3. Same difference. So those 3 service errors do account for the difference in that set. Neither team hitting particularly well today either. Both teams have had some difficulties on the attack. Serve here for Murphy. Siena will look for their first offensive attack as they tip this one over the block of Stevens. She'll punch it to keep it alive. Back to Stevens, blocked. Olga Savinsky from Warsaw, Poland, the senior, picks up the block.
Plays like that will help get Siena back into the game. A nice stuffing on the near side of the net. Savinsky timed her jump perfectly to reject Tasman Mullins going for the first point.
Good start for Siena. Looking to continue the momentum off the serve. Engstrom will set this one across. Stevens out of position. Just has to tap it over for a free ball. Okay, well, maybe it wasn't free. Difficulties on the Saints on control. And Dartmouth will pick up the point regardless.
It's one of those unforced errors. You just have to have a better sense of where the ball is on the court. If Siena plays that cleanly, they've got a free opportunity at the net to try and make something happen.
Kill was credited to Piper Stevens, assisted by Emma Engstrom on that play. Wagner, the first touch, set by Isaacson. Blocked. Huani Goots, Emma Simon with the rejection that time. Back to serve now is Ella Mae Fitzgerald, so she'll take Stevens out. Terrific defensive back line right now with Murphy, Fitzgerald, and Engstrom. Diving effort to keep this one alive by Hollis, and then she'll just have to tap that one over. Murphy first touch, so Engstrom will set. Kawani Goots off the fingertips. Robertson is there to back it up. Now Hollis again, blocked by Simon. Siena will have to reset. Backline attack by Wagner. Murphy is there. Set up by Engstrom. Kawani Goots on the attack. It's short. So despite that terrific diving effort by Murphy, would have been the fourth touch. 2-2.
You could see what Dartmouth was trying to do, switch the point of the attack from the far side to the near side. And Goots set herself up well, just didn't make the right contact on the ball.
So far, so good for Siena here in the second set. Still very early. Serve over the top, Boots, Murphy, Mullins off the top of the block. Now back the other way, it's played over and punched high up in the air and over the net by Murphy. That allows Siena to set up another attack, and a diving effort by Fitzgerald is a second too late. Good work that time. Matika on the assist as she was able to find Diraz.
Despite them losing 1-0, Siena's found themselves in the lead a couple of times. But the issue is Dartmouth has found counters.
And that one actually goes over the net, and that allows Adila Hollis to punch it down. And if there's one thing to critique with Dartmouth, it's a couple times on these receives, they tend to have a tendency of sending them over, and that sometimes allows the opponent to get an easy point out of it.
Those free balls can be killer.
Fitzgerald plays this one high up in the air. Ingstrom will set. Kwani Goots from a tough angle will play it over and pick up the kill. And those plays are always tough as an attacker because it's coming straight over the top of your head, so it can be difficult sometimes to read it, but Goots did a good job there.
And it's not really like football in the sense where you have to high point the ball. You just have to meet it where you can get into good attacking position. Sure, it helps to high point it, but when you're taking your momentum towards the net, same direction as the ball, it's not easy.
That one off the hands of Mullins, kept alive for Siena. They'll go again. Hollis picks up the kill. Terrific game so far for Salme Adila Hollis. Picking up yet another kill for Siena. Big opportunity for the Saints. 7 kills, 6 digs for Hollis so far, and she'll serve. Goots high up in the air on the receive. Murphy sets back to Kwani Goots, and not sure if that one was blocked or if it caught the net, but in position was Diraz if it had gotten through.
I don't think Diraz touched it. I think that went straight into the net, but you're right. Even if that ball would have gotten over the net, Siena still wins that point.
Good positioning, and it is Siena who has the early control here, 6-3. Adila Hollis on the serve. Murphy the set. Mullins, and that one off the block and out, so Mullins picks up the point. Lafata will check back in for Murphy. Mullins back to serve. And this is the advantage, right, of having Mullins never leave the court, is that when Murphy does come up, because they typically run a 2-setter system, a 6-2, when Murphy does come out, that allows Mullins to just take over. She doesn't even have to, you don't have to sub a new player in.
You don't. It's so nice because it also allows you to attack from multiple angles. You have two passers who can put the ball on a string right to your hitter or your blocker. It just gives that much more of an element to your offense that the defense has to prepare for.
Certainly helps as well when Mullins can pick up service aces like she did just there. So was 6-3, now 6-5 as Dartmouth looks to draw back even. Robertson the first touch, and it's going to be a free ball when it goes over. Fitzgerald, Mullins, Lafata, and that's a point for the Big Green. Good setup by Mullins, good finish by Lafata, and it is now even 6-6 in the second set.
Dartmouth is starting to go on that run. Came out a little sluggish to begin the second set, but now they feel like they're back in rhythm.
New look team playing very, very well right now as Mullins fires this one over. Set across. That one's blocked. Wagner trying to get that one to go. Now they'll go the other way. Diraz. Fitzgerald was there for the dig. Now Kwani Goots gives it a go. Blocked by Diraz. Doa Diraz had 3 kills, 4 blocks in an earlier meeting against Stonehill. That was the game the team won earlier this season at the Skyhawk Invitational. Had 10 blocks on the season going into today, now up to 11. Set up by Mullins. Kwani Goots once again. Diraz got a hand on it. Goots will try again. This time the soft touch. Diraz able to tap it to make it a little bit easier perhaps. Free ball though, back the other way. Lafata gives it a go, trying to angle down the line and put it a little bit too far that time.
Just closed off her body a little too much. Her momentum took her to the ball in a way where she could not keep it in.
And she likes to do that, likes to try and thread the needle between the antenna and the blocker straight down the line. Engstrom across, Kawani Goots gives it a go. Robertson was there. Set back, and somehow that gets over. Lafada will try, and this time she plays straight into the blocker and picks up the kill. And I almost wonder if that was a coaching moment. I could see Kevin Marie Campbell talking to her before the play, and I wonder if that was something they discussed where she said, hey, next time, just challenge the block.
Well, if it in fact was, she took that advice to heart, and that's why you have someone like Coach Campbell on the sidelines. She's so good at making those mid-set adjustments to set her players up to score like that.
Both teams still have all their timeouts. So those adjustments had to be in set as Robertson once again has trouble judging that serve from Kawani Goots, who picks up the ace. Once again, some difficulties. Diaz has to play it back in, and it's played over for a free ball by Hollis. Set by Mullins. Power! Powerful on the spike.
A little too easy for Power. That's exactly where a blocker like Power wants it. Right on her favored right hand, middle of the court. That's too easy.
Terrific job by Mullins on that set, too. The timing for that was spectacular. This one's going to be set across by Matika, off the top of the block by Wagner. Engstrom will set. Lafada targets the block again, but this time it's Turoslu getting the better as she blocks that one back to Dartmouth side. 9-9 your score.
Wagner in the area as well. Looks like Siena did their homework scouting last night's match. They saw the impact Lafada had, and right when she had her kill opportunity, they had her double team. There was no room for her to put that ball over the net.
And here's the two libero setup at work. Grace Wilhelm back into the game. And that's a kill right there for Wagner. And so for many teams, it's interesting. You'll have one libero that's typically in the defensive spots on the back line, whereas the other one will typically be more of a serve specialist almost, where they just do the serving and are only there when it's the libero's turn. Set across, Lafada off the block and picks up the kill.
Siena's outside hitter and middle blocker were in the right position that time, Wagner and Diraz. But sometimes you just don't get the bounce. That's all it was. I like their positioning to try and double team Lafada off the swing.
Isaacson setter dumps. Simon just plays it right back. What an effort to play that one over with authority there from Savinska. And now Siena will have another chance. Back, Wagner off the top of the block, but Mullins plays it up. Lafada into the center of the court, and that is a kill from Maddie Lafada. Bouncing right back towards us, I should say.
Almost right to our perch. We've had a couple of balls come close. There was one in warm-ups that cleared this ledge yesterday.
Yep. We did see one ball disappear into the scoreboard at center court as that serve from Power finds the net, and we're back even 11 apiece.
We're 22 points into the second set. I'm surprised neither team has called a timeout. You'd think there have been opportunities. Dartmouth had a run to begin that set. Siena may have thought about it, but both coaches elect to let their players play and figure things out on the fly.
Service ace picked up that time for Sarah Wagner. Always tough too. You know, Ava Roberts trying to receive that one. Just checked into the game for the first time, and sometimes when a team sees that, you know, a player checking in, they want to go right at you and try and kind of welcome you to the game. So now Roberts will step up. It will be Kwani Goots in position for the receive. They will go to Roberts. Her first attack is a kill. Way to respond by Ava Roberts, the junior from Texas.
And I can understand the strategy, too. You go after the player who's cold. But safe to say Roberts is doing just fine.
Murphy will come back in to spell Maddie Lafada. Difficulties. They're going to play it over. Engstrom, Murphy, back to Mellons, and she takes care of business. Tasman Mullins make the effortless switch from setter to right side hitter and took advantage on her first attack.
I like the change in position. You're opening up your best players from multiple angles. It's like in football. You can line your receiver up on the outside or line them up in the slot, but they could still get the job done no matter where they are.
That attack had too much on it off the hand of Savinska. So some rapid-fire Dartmouth points here, and even if you were thinking about taking a timeout, there will be an automatic timeout next Dartmouth point. So for Siena, good to just play this one out to the media timeout.
Kind of serves as a free timeout. You still have 2 in your pocket the rest of the way if you need them.
Played up in the air by Engstrom, set up by Murphy, attacked by Simon, and definitely got under that one as she launched it out of play. So 14-13 the score now.
And I'd expect both teams to play this out. Why burn a timeout when you don't have to? You can play with 2, needing just 10 more points.
Precisely. As this one's going to go all the way to the back wall. And hey, this is an interesting situation. Whoever gets the next point will go to timeout. Tworoslow with the will retreat now back to serve. 14 apiece. Mullins first touch. Murphy set up. Roberts kept alive that time by Isaacson. And then the follow-up attack is good for the kill by Olga Savinsky. So Siena stormed back from down 14-11 to be up 15-14 at the first media timeout. We'll be right back here from
Really
Hanover.
have the ace, but it goes down as another service error. Siena's had a problem with that today.
Engstrom will now return the serve. Wilhelm the receive. Here's the setup for the quick attack that finds the net, and Ella Treasure kind of a look back at the setter. Good set. I just saw her say, I'm not terrific at reading them, so I'm pretty sure that was an I'm sorry she said to the setter.
And she had that look on her face like she had just done something wrong.
And it's unfortunate. She has had a good game, but just that time, sometimes you just miss that timing ever so slightly. This time it's going to be played back for the attack, and terrific job by Fitzgerald, but it catches the scoreboard again. Engstrom able to save it in, and Goots can't quite keep it within the lines on the final touch. What? Just the range by and the reflexes of Engstrom there to get to that ball was very impressive, despite the fact they weren't able to turn it into a point.
It was, and they got the ball over the net. That's the impressive thing to me. They stayed in sequence and at least gave themselves a shot, but alert defending on Siena's part that made the read to let it go.
That one is going to be a kill for Tasman Mullins. Lafada looks to check back in. Sure will pace Murphy, so Mullins will move seamlessly back from right side hitter to setter.
You can hear the message from the Siena side. Just 7 more points, 7 more points. That's all we need, and we're back in this match.
18 apiece off the fingertips of Lafada. Saved by Kawani Goots. They'll go back to Lafada. That's actually going to bounce into a difficult spot, and Wilhelm trying to stop short of the line, but went over.
So the momentum carried her just a little too far that time. Love the effort trying to keep the point alive.
And we will get a timeout. So first team timeout of the second set. Siena will talk this one over, but they trail 19-18 and trying to find a way to stay in it. Definitely don't want to go down 2-0 on the road against Dartmouth. So gonna have a conversation, try and figure out what adjustments they can make.
I like this timeout from Coach Simone Askew-Favia. You're right in this match. Obviously, we've seen what Dartmouth can do to close them out. They had the set 1 victory. But how do you adjust from that to now to make that final adjustment that will level this match at 1 set apiece?
Still 35 seconds out from the resumption of set 2, but we mentioned it before, just because it's a timeout by Siena does not mean Dartmouth isn't talking it over. So what adjustments do you think, or if any, Dartmouth will make here closing out set 2?
First and foremost, don't hit the ball so high that it hits the scoreboard. That's given them trouble in this second set, and it's not their fault. But just try to be a little cleaner at the net. Make sure those sets are right where they need to be, because you have so many attacking options that can collect kills. So make sure that you're cleaning up those passes. Make sure they're on target. Make sure your receives are clean. Make sure that you're playing a fundamentally sound game, because that's how you're going to beat this Siena team.
Both teams seem ready to get back into it. We'll see what adjustments they made. Dartmouth has the edge, 19-18 after the timeout with Mullins back to serve. Here's the setup for the attack, and Diraz with the kill. Assisted that time by Olivia Matika, and Diraz making her mark on this one, the 6'3" middle blocker, finding the or actually right side hitter, finding the opportunity.
That's kill number 5, and that is against one error. She's been really efficient with the way that she's been swinging.
Wilhelm will serve. Engstrom has to play this one back in for Kawani Goots. Back even, big point, putting one of these two teams back in the lead. Mullins, Engstrom, LaFata gives it a go and finds the soft spot. Wilhelm and Diraz converge, but neither could get to it.
Just right on the midline, too. It's always tough to find that open spot on the floor with 6 different players surrounding it, but LaFata used her eyes to look off the back line and just dinked it home.
And that's what we've seen from her, too. She has a good awareness of when to go for power and what times to try and put a softer touch on it. Here's the setup. Gonna come across for Diraz. Tough angle. Kawani Goots able to get both hands up and play that. Now LaFata picks up another kill. Maddie LaFata proving that she belongs in this rotation ahead of conference play. Picks up the big time kill.
Again, Dartmouth rectified their mistake. They used LaFata straight away this time rather than inserting her in the third set. And you can see why. Now they have a chance to go up 2-0 early on, and LaFata is pushing 10 kills.
Should be noted, she got to 9 kills only playing in those last 3 sets, including obviously the shortened 5th set against Quinnipiac. So has the opportunity today with a full game under her belt to lead the team in kills. Typically that's been Kawani Goots, but LaFata making a case that she should be considered one of the top attackers as well.
I think so, and if LaFata can continue to stay right with Harvard on the horizon, Dartmouth could be dangerous, a dark horse to challenge for the Ivy League.
I definitely agree, and you look at the way that they played last year, they were close, right, the whole way, but 2 games against Harvard, including one that almost went the distance to 5 sets, weren't quite able to get out and get that 4th seed, but this year, Harvard, a lot of graduating members. It's going to be a 3-team race between Harvard, Cornell, and Dartmouth for that last spot.
And it's anyone's spot.
It's always difficult. It's tough, too. I mean, Brown, obviously, you could put them in the conversation, but kind of feels like that if last year's results hold and play true this year, it's going to be a 3-team race for the final spot.
That's what makes this conference so fun. Everybody's in the mix for a tournament spot.
Absolutely. You get those 2 games, one at home, one away against every team. So an opportunity to play the best, an opportunity to play some of the lower teams and try and find your way into the tournament where anything can happen.
And it's an 8-team conference, so 14 matches. It's not like the MAC. They've got 12 teams that support volleyball. You don't have much time to get things right. That's why you play these tournaments.
And that's the problem, too. One loss can be just so massive as Roberts picks up the kill. So out of the timeout, Dartmouth picks up the point and puts themselves 3 points away from a 2-set margin. Goots to serve. Siena going to have to try and go on a run here, late in set number 2. Matika, Diraz, kill. That combination's been lethal, but they will look to check out here as Isaacson comes back into the game alongside Savinska. Isaacson the serve. Boots. Mullins diving, and Engstrom has to play it over, and she plays it out. Just what the doctor ordered for Siena. 22-21. Dartmouth has both timeouts, but they're going to hold on to them.
I think they're getting close to timeout territory, though. Coach Campbell's going to let them play through, but how many more mistakes can you make before you go into your pocket?
Well, I thought they were going for the timeout instead of substitution change.
Yeah, Valia Evangelou gets her first action of the weekend.
The sophomore outside hitter from Athens, Greece. This is only her second appearance this season. Played 3 sets against Albany. That's her only other action. Played a lot more as a first year with 17 games played, 35 total sets. Kind of was a bit of a serve specialist last year for Dartmouth and has a chance here defensively. LaFada skies it. Dartmouth still has 2 timeouts. They will not use one here. Siena close to set point.
I think if Siena wins this next point, they will.
Oh, no, here the timeout comes. They will use it now. 23-22. Siena storms back, and now dangerous territory for Dartmouth. They might lose this set late.
And it's because of their attack errors. They put the ball right at the net, but it's not because Siena's beating them. Dartmouth's beating themselves.
And to your point as well, you talked a lot about today about unforced errors, and on some of these attacks, the location's right, but they're just not finding ways to locate. They're putting them too far outside.
You're right, and the thing is about this team, though, they have so many options, so it's not like they're out of it.
No, absolutely.
They just have to straighten things out. Just keep the ball between the antennas, and you're going to be fine.
For Valia Evangelou, maybe an opportunity for her to prove that she belongs in the rotation or as in the consideration for a more consistent role. Taking a look at that attack by LaFada that sailed out of play. Siena playing with confidence right now. Trying to see if they can find a way to steal this set, and it was 22-19, 4 straight points for the Saints. And then the attention shifts to the serve, that time you spend off the court sometimes can increase the chances for an error. Isaacson trying to make sure that doesn't happen. First serve over cleanly. Engstrom a good receive. Mullins back. LaFada. If that did not hit the block, it's a point for Siena, and it is 24-22.
Siena now has a shot at their first set win of the tournament.
This would be huge. They got swept in straight sets by Providence, but that one from Isaacson, to your point, unforced error, allows Dartmouth a free point, and with Power back to serve, perhaps an opportunity, and big chance here from Ollie Power, and once again, the question always becomes, how aggressive are you on this serve? She'll play it over cleanly. The setup, the attack, it's blocked by LaFada. Clutch play. And now it'll be the first to 26 here in set 2.
And perhaps one thing to keep in mind, Dartmouth still has a timeout. If they don't win this point, I wouldn't be surprised if they use it.
Maybe a chance perhaps to try and draw something up on the ensuing serve. Look at the stats for Evangelou. As a service ace, was a serve specialist last year. She might get that chance, we'll see. Wilhelm will set this one up. Now Isaacson for the attack and the kill by Wagner. Engstrom back in for Power. Once again, Dartmouth not going to elect to use the timeout. They will have trust that they can operate here on set point, 25-24. Roberts the receive, set up, LaFada, soft touch, but kept alive by Wilhelm. Set back across, and there's the final kill. Picked up by Savinska, and Siena takes set 2, 26-24. What were your thoughts from that set before we head to the break?
Siena cleaned it up, plain and simple. Far fewer mistakes in set number 2. And that's what we've been talking about throughout this weekend. The best teams are the ones that make the fewest mistakes.
Well, we'll be right back with set number 3 here from Hanover. We're even. Dartmouth took set 1. Siena took 5 sets. That was the first time they met in 1996. And this is only the 4th time of the now 8 meetings that it has gone to 4 or more sets. So this is a talented Siena team, and they're going to look to make this perhaps their first program win against the Big Green.
If that's going to happen, they're going to need to play like the way they did in that second set. Fewer errors. They looked a lot sharper and cleaner, and they forced Dartmouth out of their comfort zone.
And Dartmouth, an immediate change. They're going to go to the sophomore middle blocker, Rayleigh Smith from Arizona. Had played in all 6 games this season leading up to this weekend stretch, but we didn't get to see her in the last game against Quinnipiac. That was the first game she's missed. So she'll get the nod early, perhaps trying to help out at middle blocker. It's been really a three-player rotation there with Power and Simon being the other two big names. So we'll see how Smith does. She actually led the team in blocks per set going into this weekend set of games. Miscommunication, it goes out, as it was Mullins and Kwani Gooch trying to get the last touch on that one.
This looks like a much different Dartmouth team than the one we saw in the first set. They looked comfortable, in control. Even when Siena made it close, they found a way to drop the hammer and finish off that set win. And now they just look a little like they're in a shell. Yes, they did win the point just there, but it still feels like they're playing on their heels.
Good read by Emma Engstrom on that one, but exactly to your point, truly felt like they were in firm control of that second set. It was 20, I'm trying to remember the exact number. I believe it was 22-19, and then Siena got it all the way up to 24-22. Once again, some difficulties on the set attack link up there. Results in the point for the Big Green. Fitzgerald back to serve. Fitzgerald serve that found the back line. Ducking out of the way was Wilhelm, but the serve from Fitzgerald ducked down at the last second.
Just had enough dip on it to break in front of the white line. It's a big ace for Dartmouth.
Gotta be happy with that one. Another serve here, played up in the air by Wilhelm, set by Isaacson. And then the ultimate kill picked up by Savinska.
Siena's not going to go away. You saw that. They won their first set of this tournament just moments ago. They're going to give you a run. Even though they hadn't won a set up until that point, they had kept all 5 first sets close. And finally coming up with that win. They're looking really confident right now.
Once again, a miscommunication, that time between Engstrom and Kwani Goots, as that one lands harmlessly in between them for the service ace. Terrific game so far for Siena Turoslo, and she adds an ace to it as this one's set up, and Rayleigh Smith picks up her first kill.
It's kind of like what Dartmouth did last night. You bring in Maddie Lafata down 2-0 in the third, and she goes off, has a night that she's going to remember for quite some time, and now looking for a repeat with Rayleigh Smith entering the rotation.
Engstrom with the serve this time. Power will be back in for Smith as Murphy sets to Power, and she's blocked. Ella Treasure with the rejection. More subs check into the game. Matika, Diraz. Murphy. Mullins blocked again. This time it was Adela Hollis getting her hands on it.
I hadn't called her name all that much in the second set, but she could be a big momentum booster for Siena now that they have a little confidence with that second set win.
Up to 8 kills, 6 digs, 3 blocks. Wilhelm backs up that play. Set across D-Raz's attack, played up by Fitzgerald. Now it'll be Kwani Goots' turn to give it a go, but Wagner is there. One hand set, played over. Good job by Mullins. Setter dump by Murphy. Karen Murphy, an expert of the setter dump, and finds the soft spot in the middle of the defense that time.
And with another no-look. She had a couple of those last night against Quinnipiac. It's all in the eyes. Looked like she was going to set. Siena spread out, covering the net. Murphy said, "I'll take that. Thank you very much."
Mullins with the serve this time, as that one's powered through for the kill. Wagner picks it up. 6-5, the advantage now for Siena. Adela Hollis, another chance to serve. The float serve causing some problems. Fitzgerald will have to play it over. Here's the setup. It'll come across for the attack, and it's blocked by Lafada.
Oh, and she's fired up too.
Well, that was a set that went all the way across the net, and Lafada still able to make the read and get the stop.
If I'm not mistaken, that's her first solo block.
Yeah, that'll.
She's had a couple of assisted blocks, but when she makes a big play, you hear about it, and she just brings so much energy. I talked about this a lot last night. That might be her best trait, her energy, her passion, her drive.
As there's a kill picked up by Sarah Wagner, once again finding an answer. Both teams so full of energy right now, splitting the first two sets. They know how important this third set's going to be. Wilhelm will have the opportunity now. Boots plays it up. Mullins taps it. Roberts gives it a go. And Roberts picks up the kill. Smith back in. Spelling Engstrom, she'll join her teammates at the front. Serve for Fitzgerald, or rather, Molly Power with the serve this time. This one's going to be set all the way across for the attack by Wagner, who catches it off the side of the hand and plays it out.
I just missed it. I could see what she wanted to do, playing up the near side. But curled her hand a little too much, hit it with the wrong part of her palm.
Serve here for Power. Set up by Diraz all the way across for Wagner. Power tapped over by Lafada, and what a heads-up play by Maddie Lafada to turn that into points.
Right at the net, took things into her own hands. Made sure she got to the ball first. Siena was so spread out, trying to shift to the point of attack, and Lafada was right there to make the play.
Siena will look to respond as that backline attack is actually going to cause problems. Mullins could not quite get there in time. So Power out, Engstrom in. Isaacson will check back in alongside Savinska. Set up by Goots. Now Mullins across for Robert. Soft touch. Punched up in the air. Played up by Wilhelm. Wagner off her back foot. And that one sails out at play. 10-8 the edge now. And another new face as Sophia Gagnapan will check in for the first time. A first year from Wildwood, Missouri. Gagnapan made her debut against Albany. Had 13 assists, 3 service aces, and 5 digs in 4 sets. And also contributed in the game against UConn with 3 digs and 2 service aces. Or rather, 2 assists, I should say. That one fired off the block by Wagner, and she'll pick up the kill.
I like what Coach Campbell has done throughout this tournament. Change up her looks and get more players into the rotation. We saw Rayleigh Smith re-enter earlier in this set. Kind of like what Providence did last match with Kelsey Holmes.
And Gagnapan will set this one up to Ava Roberts. And Gagnapan listed as a setter / defensive specialist, so thought she'd be coming on for defense, but right now it looks like it's her offense to run as she set that play up.
And she looked confident doing that too. Cold off the bench, rushes right to the net and pick up a kill. Now you feel like you're in this match.
This one's going to be played up by Wagner, set up by Isaacson. The attack by Savinska, blocked by Kawani Goots and Rayleigh Smith. (12-9) the edge now for Dartmouth. Both teams with both timeouts. Oh, Siena, I think you can try and wait till 15, but you might not want to let it get that far. This one's going to be played over the top of the net. Big point for the Saints there off the hand of Toroslo.
Still no team has used a timeout yet. We might be seeing a repeat of what we saw in the second set, where the 15-point media timeout kept them in their pockets for the final 10 points.
Here's the setup. Kawani Goots will give it a go. That one had too much on it, and another point for Siena. This reminds me a bit, it was 14, I think it was 14-10 in set 2. Siena stormed all the way back and were the leaders at the first timeout, 15-14. Kind of a similar situation here. They've stormed back. Turoslo, Engstrom, awkward angle, but Goot's able to center it, and Fitzgerald will play it over for the free ball. Isaacson, back. Savinska did not catch the line. 13-11.
If Dartmouth can get to the 15-point media timeout with the lead, I think Coach Campbell will be really happy with that. Can keep the 2 timeouts to perhaps talk strategy, set some things up with fewer points to win.
Engstrom picks up the service ace to make it 14-11. And I feel like at this point, if you're a Siena, just let it ride out. This was almost the same situation we saw in set 2. They actually came out on top going into the first timeout. Wagner the receive, set or dump, but too much on it. Fitzgerald will play it. Here's the setup, played by Power, and ultimately Wagner is able to play it back over. Now the setup for Kawani Goots is blocked. Big time rejection from Savinska. And now it is 14-12.
And Mullins and Fitzgerald both went after it. Fortunately, neither got hurt running into each other on their own end, not looking for anything other than the ball.
And now Karani Goots will get subbed out by Piper Stevens, who will come in. Set to do the honors is Matika. Stevens the receive. Setup. Attack by Mullins. Played back up in the air once again. Quick attack down the middle, and it is there for Ella Treasure. 14-13. Take another serve. Once again, Gagnapan was set up. Molly Power trying to go down Broadway, but Treasure is there. Follow up by Stevens. Backed up by Wilhelm. Now D-Raz off the block and picks up the kill.
It's deja vu, Brandon.
Exactly the same thing that happened in set 2, where Dartmouth, it felt like they'd be the first to 15, and then Siena makes a run and might have a chance to really make it an instant replay if they can pick up the point here. Nearly got it off the serve. Instead, Gagnapan, Mullins blocked. Treasure alongside Salme Adila Hollis. And once again, Siena erases a Dartmouth lead into the first media
all
time.
Credit to the players executing the game plan. They're not getting pulled out of sequence, even with Dartmouth getting a little bit of breathing room. They've stuck to their game plan, and they have just executed it to a T.
Trying to set this one up. Gagnapan over. The attack by Stevens, dug out by that was Wagner with the dig. She has been terrific. That's her 12th dig of the game. Here's the setup for the attack. D-Raz picks up the kill. 16-14. Momentum still the way of the Saints. 7 kills, 12 digs so far for Wagner. 5 blocks on the game for Turoslo. That attack. Wilhelm had some trouble. Ended up actually playing that backwards, and point for Dartmouth. Lafata will check back in. That means Mullins will be back to her normal role of primary setter.
I think getting Lafata back in the game is going to really help Dartmouth right now. She has been far and away their best hitter. 10 kills, that leads the team. But on top of that, she's providing an excellent presence at the net in terms of blocks. And the way Siena's been playing, they need that net front presence to counter how well they've been hitting.
Mullins with a terrific serve just then, and we're back even, 16 apiece. Lafata will be pivotal. She'll be up front alongside Stevens and Power, going against a tough lineup with Treasure, D-Raz, and Hollis. Played over softly. Engstrom's going to go across for Stevens. The dig by Wilhelm, terrific as they'll set it back across. Matika finds Wagner. Fitzgerald plays it up. Mullins across. Stevens, tough angle, able to play it through. Wagner actually played it over. Mullins will set this one up. Lafada trying to play across. It's dug out that time by Matika. Set by Wilhelm. Attack is there, and the kill picked up by Adila Hollis.
That's now 10 for Salme Adila Hollis.
And this is a game where if you look at how Dartmouth played Providence, won 3-1. Providence beat Siena in straight sets. So by that, you would imagine Dartmouth would have the edge today, but it's Siena who has come out and taken control of this one. Stevens trying to get some momentum back, but unable to get that one over.
That's the thing, Brandon. Every set is in a vacuum. Every game is in a vacuum. Every match is in a vacuum. You can't think about any other result when you're game planning for a team. You have to make sure that you understand their tendencies, not exactly how they played against a specific opponent.
Serve comes over. Engstrom, high lofting ball towards Lafada, but that one off the fingertips of Treasure. Now back the other way. It's Wagner. This has been a heck of a set for Sarah Wagner, and she just continues to pour it on, up to 8 kills with 13 digs in this game. And we will see a timeout now. Dartmouth has to talk it over, but Siena, it was 14-11, now 19-16 the advantage for the Saints.
8-2 over the last 10 points, Brandon. That'll turn the tides. It's almost a complete carbon copy of the second set. Siena found themselves down 14-10, approaching the 15-point media timeout, and now they're in complete control of this set, barring a Dartmouth run.
So Dartmouth will have to talk it over.
Perhaps Dartmouth needs to follow the lyrics of this song. Just relax and you'll be A-okay. They just feel a little frantic now that they're finding themselves in a similar situation. Siena in control. Dartmouth's just been stretched out a little too much, trying to do a little too much. Just relax and stick to your game plan.
Well, certainly for Dartmouth, this is a game that you looked at going in, have to assume that they're the favorites at home against a Siena team that has struggled at times this season. So perhaps part of it is that Siena is playing freely while Dartmouth, all that pressure surrounding this game, and now that they're down, to your point, a little frantic trying to get themselves back into it.
And I don't think they think about it that way. We should be beating Siena. We're the better team, et cetera, et cetera. You play 3 matches in a weekend. You don't really have time to prepare for them because you have 2 other teams ahead. And on top of that, you just played 5 sets last night. So I don't think that plays into it at all. But this team did their legwork. Of course, it kind of gets pushed to the back burner when you have Providence and Quinnipiac ahead of them. But perhaps that's playing into Siena's favor. They haven't seen them yet. So they're playing with everything they have.
Power off the top of the block. Wilhelm diving effort, and then another diving effort to pop it up, but not really anything you could do about that one, as Roberts will check back in for Fitzgerald on the Dartmouth side. This one's played over the top. Here's the setup. The attack by Wagner off the block of Lafada, and Mullins a step late. So back into the game, checking in is Toro Slow. Slow spell Treasure, who had a pretty terrific rotation that time.
Smile on her face as she makes her way back to the bench.
That'd be a good feeling when you know you played well, as that one just misses the back line. Good read by Roberts and Engstrom. Rayleigh Smith will be back in to join her teammates up front, continuing to try and make an impact. Subbed on for this third set, trying to find a way to help the team out as they try and hold on. Played over by Power. Quick tip, Smith got a hand on it. Now Smith has to play it up and over. Now Stevens with the last touch there. Wagner, Power able to redirect it. Now Lafada gives it a go. There for it was Matika. That means the set has to come from Adila Hollis. Good dig by Power, tapped over with one hand by Mullins. Setup, attack, D-Raz. Doesn't quite have the kill as Smith plays it over. Good volley right now for a big point. Once again, free ball for Siena. Matika, Wagner. There it is for Siena. 21-18 here in the third set.
That was an entertaining rally. Both teams had their opportunities, but Siena found a way through by switching the point of the attack, going from near antenna to far antenna to set up the kill.
Back in fourth point, and it's just those little things. That's the difference between a 1-point deficit and a 3-point deficit. As ready to serve as Isaacson. Mullins the setup, across. Roberts trying to power through, and she will get the kill. 21-19. Murphy going to come in now for Lafada. And a big time kill picked up by Wagner. Just continues to stuff the stat sheet today. 12 kills, 13 digs, 3 blocks for Wagner. Laid up by Roberts. Murphy the set. Across for the attack by Mullins, and she picks up the kill. Big kill for Tasman Mullins that time.
They're going to need more of those. Set up Mullins. Set up Smith. Get your hitters and your blockers into advantageous opportunities. Now you have Piper Stevens, who has that extra element on the left side.
Both teams have done well with their timeouts. Siena still has both of theirs in this close third set. Dartmouth has one remaining. Here's the setup. And oh no, difficulties on the attack. Trying to work that one to Taroslo. Got caught up in midair.
I think that 2-touched her on the forehead.
Siena will use the timeout after that play with a 1-point lead on Dartmouth serve. So, Ryan, you take a look at this one. This is a big third set. Puts whatever team wins it into the driver's seat for the set number 4. Good timeout by Siena, you think, to regroup and talk it over?
Yes, I do think so. Dartmouth was starting to creep back into this set, and I like the idea to take it when you have the lead. You're not chasing the game. You're not trying to curb momentum while you're already down. I like the idea from head coach Simone Askew-Favia to get her team recentered, slow things down, and just get those final coaching points across. They're nearly at the finish line. This message, I'm sure, that has to be it. Just focus up. You're nearly there, and you're going to have a lead once you get that done.
And I'm sure Siena also probably talking a bit about what happened in Dartmouth's previous game against Quinnipiac, where Quinnipiac had the early advantage and ended up giving it away, allowing Dartmouth to get back into it. So I'm sure the message as well is make sure you don't give them anything because they will take it.
That's for sure. And they have the components to do just that. You give this team an opening, they're going to bust the door down.
(22-21) the advantage for Siena, but the serve at the hand of LMA Fitzgerald. Back and forth set. Once again, it was a run in the middle of the set by Siena that gave them the advantage. Can they hold on to it this time? We're able to take set 2. As this one, awkward, going to be able to be played over. Murphy the first touch, the set will come from Fitzgerald. Looking to target Piper Stevens, who picks up the kill. Big point for Dartmouth out of the timeout, 22 even.
I like the setup for the cross-court swing. Stevens saw space over on the far side and did not miss.
Stevens just a steady player that can fill many different roles. This one's going to be centered and actually go over. Was that a misdirect from Isaacson? Because it fooled me.
I think she used her eyes and her hands to make Dartmouth think a tip was coming, but it never did.
I was waiting for it, and it just fell straight down. Faked out the defense that time, and in a big moment as well, 23-22. Murphy, set up. Mullins blocked, but Ingstrom is there to keep it alive. They'll go to the same player again as Mullins fires it over the top of the block. Here's the setup. Savinska, Ingstrom, what a play. What a play. Set or dump, not there. Have to play it over, though. Good opportunity here. Smith picks up the kill. And what a volley, what a sequence there for Ingstrom as she was able twice to redirect dig straight to Murphy for the set.
That's why she's on the floor. Not only is she such a good defensive player, but she's a great passer. The best liberos can be two-way players. Obviously, they can't hit the ball over the net, but that doesn't mean they can't have any offensive influence.
Team's now playing for set point. That one hung up, not touched by Dartmouth, and they get it, 24-23.
I would not be surprised if Siena goes right for the kill off the serve.
Ingstrom gonna have that opportunity. Does have a service ace today. She catches the net, and we won't know. Now the magic number is 26 for these two teams. And very similar to what we saw before, Siena was able to get those 2 points and take set 2. Do you think we see a repeat here, or do you think we might even get all the way up towards the 30s?
And the way these two teams have been battling it out so even throughout the match, if I make a prediction, it's going to be wrong.
No way to know, but we will have a chance to see it happen. Murphy the set. Mullins off balance. Nearly got the kill. She did. Big time play for Dartmouth, and now they're on set point. LaFada in for Murphy.
How about the back judge? Quick footwork to get out of the way of that ball. He knows what's at stake.
Well, you got to be careful because if it does hit you, sometimes it results in a replay of the point. Now, not that I think Siena had any chance if it had hit him, but got to be something to think about. We saw it actually happen in the match yesterday. Nearly the end of this one, but kept alive by Siena. Going to have to stop the attack by power. They are there for it. Diraz off the fingertips. Ingstrom the dig. It actually goes over and is played down by Treasure. 27, the number to have now for these two teams.
That's why you have to receive cleanly. Dartmouth couldn't result in a free ball. That's easy pickings for Treasure. Not going to have another kill like that easy.
And Salme Adila Hollis, not really a player you want to see serving on the other side. So steady. Float serve. Fitzgerald's able to get down to it. Stevens gives it a go. Poked up in the air and out of play. Piper Stevens, a big kill to put Dartmouth on set point once again.
Now step one for Dartmouth, just get the ball over the net.
Exactly. Gotta make sure that you're forcing Siena to beat you rather than beating yourself, and that's the case for both teams in these situations. Siena not gonna make it easy. That actually gets hung up, and is that still alive? No. Dartmouth gets point 27, and they take set number 3 as that one hung up on the net but fell the wrong way for the Saints.
I give Dartmouth a lot of credit. Siena went on that run, and Dartmouth felt like they were on their heels, but they dug in. They did what they needed to do, and now they find themselves in pole position, playing a clean game.
LaFada's led the way. She has 10 kills so far in this one. Mullins right behind her with 8. On the flip side, you take a look over at Siena. They have been led by Wagner. She's up to 11 kills, 10 kills as well for Adila Hollis. This is a team that has fought, and also, just a shout out, D-Raz also has 9 kills in today's contest. So a couple different players that have come out, played well for the Saints, and going to have to try and put together another solid set here to force a 5th set.
Backs against the wall, this is what you're made of. Can you rise to the occasion and make the plays you need to make to get to that 5th set?
We will find out in just a moment. For the Dartmouth side, Rayleigh Smith, Roberts will remain in with this group here as they look to try and make something happen.
I'll tell you what, Dartmouth is feeling themselves right now. Looking over to their bench, LMA Fitzgerald was grooving with that beat, so I think they like where they're at, and they're having some fun, too.
Siena, some difficulties. That could have gone out. Murphy played it. Mullins pokes it off the block and picks up the kill. Dartmouth now with the early lead. Serve to come from Murphy. Wagner the receive, set up by Isaacson, the attack by Savinska, and she'll pick up the kill.
I think we're going to see a lot more of the same in this set to what we've seen in the first three. I would not imagine any team runs away with it. It's going to come down to the wire.
Absolutely. And you look at Siena, the body language is good. They're all smiles, ready to try and continue this one. Laid up in the air by Stevens. Murphy will set. Roberts the attack, but dug out that time by Isaacson. Attack from the back line by Wagner is wide, and the point will go to Dartmouth.
That essentially would have turned into a free ball situation for Dartmouth. Wagner's so far behind the attacking line, just trying to get it over on that third hit. Wanted to do what kind of looked like a coffin corner punt, try to pin Dartmouth on their own side of the court in a sense, but got to keep it between the lines. It's not like football. You can't let it roll out of bounds.
Absolutely. And, on that play, it can be tough. Sometimes you're going to make a play on it, just trying to put them in an uncomfortable position, not give them an easy dig. Fitzgerald across for Stevens. Great job by Murphy with the first touch there. Now the follow-up by Mullins. That one's dug out and off the scoreboard, dumped by Murphy. Does an assist go to the scoreboard on that play? Because technically it was scoreboard to Murphy for the kill.
If I were the official scorer, I would lobby for that for sure. Broke right to Murphy, went straight down to her fingertips. How about that?
Well, think about
the setter dump from the most unusual of angles.
Well, that's what I'm saying too, is setter dumps are usually something you kind of set up. It has to be the right moment. So to have the confidence to go for it off of a ball off the scoreboard is fun to watch. Now Murphy with the spike. Oh, everybody wanted that one, but Siena will get the return. They'll sky it though. So point will go to Dartmouth regardless, but that would have been a fun sequence with a setter dump followed up by the spike from Karen Murphy.
And it's not like she didn't have an influence on the point. Siena couldn't receive cleanly, and it set up the long hit.
Fitzgerald's serve is low. Serve will come from Matika. And the call is going to come against D-Raz. They're going to rule she went over the net.
Siena's been in and around this match, but a big reason they lost the first and third sets, those small errors. D-Raz just has to have a better idea of where she is on the court, because you can't just give Dartmouth, a team that's as good as they are, free points.
Dangerous situation for Siena, too, following that play, because you now trail by 3 early. As that actually goes, the point will go to Siena. That got caught up on the net. I thought it landed out of play, and point will come to Siena regardless. I guess it was touched by a Dartmouth player.
Oh, it landed in.
Oh, it landed in.
That was in.
Okay.
Didn't make it by much, but it doesn't need to be all that much.
Yeah, any part of the ball hits the line, it counts. I must have missed it. Murphy will set this one back across to Stevens, who, I don't know how much of that she got, was able to play it off the net. Willem will send this one back across. Wagner gives it a go. Kept alive by Murphy. Somehow she actually set that up for Stevens. What a play. And that's what great setters do, right? Even in a play that's kind of broken, able to set up her teammate for the kill.
Like a scramble drill.
Absolutely.
That ball took so many different deflections on its way to the dig. But still, Dartmouth, a quick transition. Got it right on a line for Stevens. Great play.
Still a 3-point cushion now for Dartmouth as Mullins with the serve. Wagner the receive. Set up by Matika. D-Raz gives it a go and picks up the kill. Toroslo with the serve. Fitzgerald trying to dive down for that one, but it will be a service ace that time for Siena Toroslo. The German middle blocker has been terrific today, and the serves she's had have given Dartmouth some problems into this one. Good diving effort to keep it alive, but Molly Power quickly put an end to it.
Good reactions off of that ball. Siena did not receive cleanly off of the initial swing attempt, the power, right place, right time. Standing right at the net, and she had the right angle to just slam it down.
Stevens will have the opportunity to serve now. Good receive from Wagner. Set up. D-Raz picks up the kill. Siena going to go with some quick substitutions into the game. Isaacson alongside Savinska, the normal routine as they run that 6-2 rotational set to sub out the middle blockers and setters. Dartmouth a 7-6 advantage, but that has really been the case all day, or all game, I should say. It's just very close. Lafada picks up the kill.
Heads up in the third row. That deflected right to a couple of fans that were on alert. That's what Lafada does. Just comes in, had the right angle, and she did not miss her opportunity.
Volleyball, very much a spectator sport, although you can't keep the ball if you do catch it.
I don't think that's what they meant by spectator sport.
Oh, well.
I'll see myself out.
It's a fun sport to watch, and, you might catch a volleyball, although you do have to give it back.
Unfortunately, it's not banana ball. You don't have a direct impact on the play.
No. Banana ball would be terrific if you can play it back in. Stevens' attack is blocked by Treasure. Follow-up by Roberts, poked up in the air and kept alive by Isaacson. Set by Wilhelm for the attack that finds the back corner like a heat-seeking missile off the hand of Savinska.
Siena's just been mentally strong today. Whenever they faced a deficit, they fought back. Granted, they did lose the first and third sets, but by the slimmest of margins and extra points both times. Just goes to show how well they've battled.
They have played right with this Dartmouth team. Difficult angle for Lafada. They're going to rule Treasure got a piece of that, so Dartmouth will have another chance. Roberts plays it over. Wilhelm centers it for Isaacson and across for the attack. That's played up and over. Once more, this will go back. That time it misses off the hand of Savinska.
It's been really even early on, and just looking ahead, I think we're in store for another set where we see a stoppage in play at the 15-minute media timeout. It's been so nip and tuck, no need to stop play. Both coaches, Askew-Favia and Campbell, are letting their players go.
Savinska once again picks up a kill. We're back even, 9-9. Knew it was going to come to it. Siena has played so well today, they're not going to let Dartmouth just pull away and take the fourth set. It's going to be close all the way through. Served by Wilhelm, played up by Stevens. Set by Murphy, back for the attack by Roberts. Not quite there. Wagner had the dig, and she'll get it back. Playing it over the top. Murphy first touch. Ingstrom will set. Mullins. As we get a call here against Siena. So Dartmouth will get the point there.
Can that break spring them? That's the big question.
Well, we saw Dartmouth get to 14 points first the last two sets, but it was Siena who got to 15. Has to be a concern for Dartmouth. Just got to try and close it out. Go on a run here and hold on to that lead. Here's the setup for the attack, and that's a triple block, but the big contributing factor in that one was Rayleigh Smith in the middle. 3 Dartmouth players getting their hands near that one.
That's, I think, the best part of Dartmouth's game, their net front presence. It's so hard to pop one over that front line. They're so aware of where they need to be. I know I say that a lot, but just bears repeating because it keeps happening.
Fitzgerald's serve finds the net, so a free point back the way of Siena as they once again make their changes. Isaacson out, Savinska out. Matika in alongside D-Raz. Played up by Stevens. Ingstrom sets across from Mullins. Blocked, but kept alive as Piper Stevens got it with one hand. Follow-up is blocked and actually ends up going over, but out of play.
For Dartmouth, this is where you need to lock in. These are important points. There's a big stretch coming up. This is something you've struggled with throughout this match, getting to 15 first and forcing the media timeout yourself. This is where you need to lock in.
Big time moment. Both teams have both timeouts, but I imagine at this stage we'll just wait for the media timeout at 15. Murphy got a piece, and no chance, though, for Stevens, who was trying to elevate and find an angle, but unless she has a vertical leap in the size of an NBA player, not sure she would have been able to get up to that one.
The net post was also in the way, so it leads to double trouble. Stevens really had no choice but to concede the point. Just regroup, get ready for the next one.
That ball's probably about 12 feet in the air that time. Murphy sets back. Mullins gives it a go and picks up the kill. Lafado will check in. Murphy will sub out. But to do the honors this time is Mullins. Here comes the setup across by Matika. Dartmouth looking for a response. It's Lafada. Good dig out time by Matika. That means that it has to be set by Wilhelm for the attack by D-Raz. Good effort with one hand to save that. Now Wagner gives it a go. That's blocked, but out of play. A couple times there where it felt like Dartmouth was going to get the point, but Wagner able to put a stop to it and gets the end of their 12th.
Swash, rinse, repeat. So close to the 15th point. This is where Siena's been making their charges.
Siena going to try and continue to do their best volleyball today has come near this 15-point mark. That one finds the back line. A no-touch ace there for Turoslo, who has really impacted the game. Has a couple blocks today, but a couple service aces as well offensively.
Yeah, that's just a tough read for the Dartmouth back line. Both Fitzgerald and Stevens were in the area willing to let it go, but that ball touched down.
Now it's Lafada who gets through the block and picks up the kill. So once again, it's Dartmouth to 14 first, but will they be the one to 15? Wilhelm in, Robertson, Stevens to serve.
An excellent timeout management by both teams. Both head coaches, Kevin Maureen Campbell and Simone Askew-Favia, will be fully armed in the latter stages of this set.
Who will reach 15 first? Well, we'll find out on the next serve. As Wilhelm blew a tire on the celebration.
The service errors have been more so a problem for Dartmouth today than they were yesterday against Quinnipiac. They had only 8 in that 5-set win. Today, they're approaching that same mark and at the wrong time.
Diving effort by Engstrom to keep it alive for Dartmouth. Roberts gives it a go, but it is blocked. Savinska with the final tally before the media timeout. 15-14 for Siena, looking to try and force a 5th set.
To a de facto best of 3, but now with their backs against the wall, down 2-1, they don't have as much room for error. They have to stay compact.
Dartmouth some troubles, results in a good opportunity for Siena out of the first serve, and Wagner fires it off the block for the kill.
That's number 13 for Wagner. She achieved a double-double a while ago by virtue of digs. She really has turned into a two-way threat in this match for the Saints.
She has done just so much for this team as that serve was short from the get-go. 15-16 the deficit now. Smith will check back in, joining her teammates on the front line. Power serve. Wilhelm to receive. Here's the setup across for the quick attack. Trying to set that up quickly with Treasure, and that's one of those plays where you jump before the ball is set, knowing it's coming to you, and skied it off the hand.
Yeah, I think that's one of those plays that maybe worked a little too well. Treasure knew what was coming, a little too excited. She had a great kill opportunity and just put too much on it after mistiming her jump.
This one's going to be played forward, and this time a kill picked up for Savinska. Should be noted for Dartmouth. Kawani Gooch checked out earlier this game, has not checked back in. That's your top kill player, not in the lineup, and going to try and do it with a different look group on the court right now, perhaps maybe trying out some new players before the games really start to matter with their matchup against Harvard next Friday. Lafada picks up a big kill there as she fires that one down.
I think to your point, I think it's just reading the game. Goontz was not at her best. Leads this team with 7 errors on 22 attempts, so I think it's more so trying to get players in there who have been more efficient, ride the hot hands that have entered, and Goots can reset ahead of the conference opener next week.
Here's the setup and nearly a kill. Ingstrom backing up the play as that skimmed off the block of Roberts. Played over by Stevens. This attack played up by Ingstrom. Murphy sets. Attack by Roberts. Soft touch. Backing up the play is Isaacson. So the set will come from Wilhelm for the attack. Once again, though, Ingstrom is there thwarting the attack off the hand of Hollis. Follow up in the air. Wilhelm diving for it. Can't get there. And after a very back and forth rally, it is Dartmouth who picks up the point off of the hand of Ava Roberts.
Roberts hasn't had as much of an effect in this match as she did last night. Only her 7th kill, but that her most impactful. It forces Siena to use one of their 2 timeouts.
And it should be noted, too, that Tasman Mullins, a triple-double in today's contest. 16 assists, 13 digs, 11 kills. She has stuffed the stat sheet, and she's one of the few players today that has yet to... I don't think she's left the court for any length of time through 4 sets so far.
Talk about a triple-double that flies under the radar. Mullins hasn't been the focal point of this offense, and that's by design. They have so many different players they can go to rack up points. But she's gotten it done every which way. 11 kills, 13 digs, 16 assists. She just knows where she needs to be on the court, and she reads the situation so well. Do I put the ball over the net? Do I set somebody up? And two-way, too.
And it should be noted, too, that she has the edge on Karen Murphy with 1 extra assist. She has the digs lead, 2 extra digs over Ingstrom. LaFada has 13 kills. If Mullins can get 3 more and take over, she could potentially lead the team in all 3 categories.
And that's a fun thing to watch. I'm sure the Dartmouth players will like reading that stat sheet if they win, but it's not really the focus right now.
Well, the most important stat is obviously the win at the end of the day. Reaching that 25-point mark, those 3 sets won. Dartmouth has the advantage here. Siena burning that timeout, down to 1 remaining. Can Dartmouth keep the onslaught coming and pick up this win? Going to be set back across. Hollis plays it over. Murphy backing up the play. Ingstrom will set. The attack by Roberts, a good one that finds the back line. Murphy will now serve. Dartmouth in control. 6 points away from closing this one out. Wagner the receive, set up, setter dump by Isaacson. Froze the defense.
We've seen a few of those throughout the weekend. I think that might have been the best. Set it up perfectly, and that ball died.
Isaacson, the senior setter from New York. Perfect setup, perfect execution for her 9th kill of the season. Those setter dumps can be just so tough to read as a defense. As Mullins' attack is blocked, Savinska got a piece. Follow up by Roberts, gets over the top, but kept alive. Isaacson with the dig. Follow up, Savinska. Murphy the first touch. Ingstrom, Murphy will send it over. Wilhelm, set up. Savinska, the kill. Side judge has dodged a couple balls today. He wore that one off the deflection of Ingstrom.
Too much power on it.
Too much power indeed.
And it's neck and neck. Both teams 6 points away from a set win, and it's of equal importance to both. You can tell just both of these teams leaving it on the line on the final day of the Dartmouth Invitational.
Set up, attack, and kill down the center. That was Siena Toroslo picking up the kill. Dartmouth will now be the ones burning a timeout here. Each team will have 1 remaining. Siena has the lead, 2019, trying to close this one out.
It's a good timeout there from head coach Kevin Maureen Campbell. You don't want to have to play a 5th set. I think that goes without saying. Just take care of your business right here, and the way to do that is just to reset your team mentally. You're 6 points away. Don't pay attention to the fact that Siena's winning. Think about you. You're 6 points away. How do you get those 6 points?
And that's going to be key for Siena. And for Dartmouth, if we do ultimately get to a 5th set, they are 3-0 in such games so far this season. Whereas on the flip side, for Siena, they've had 2 such games, and they have lost both of those ones, including, as previously mentioned, that heartbreaker against Penn. But it's all about executing in these moments. And for Siena, they've executed. This has been a game where it really felt like Dartmouth, I wouldn't say they were pulling away, but you could feel the momentum switching, favoring the big green. You felt like, all right, this might be it. Maybe they'll rattle off 2-3 quick points here and it'll be 22-19 or 22-18, but Siena stuck with it and now they have the lead.
I'll tell you what, you're going to see some of the most intense volleyball you've seen all night right here. I shouldn't say night, it's still light outside, but all day right here.
It might be night by the time this game wraps up if we continue to a fifth set with the way these two teams have played. Extra points in each of the last two sets, and this one maybe destined to do the same thing. 20-19. Serve had too much on it, and we're back even.
That's now the 10th Siena service error. In each of Dartmouth's last two matches, this one included, they've gotten 10 plus free points off of service errors, and they took advantage.
Wilhelm receive off the Roberts serve. Oh no, another mistake for Siena on that attack.
Olga Savinsky just got a little too wide, and going for the tap, ran out of room.
Important sequence here for both sides. 4 points away for Dartmouth. Wagner, the receive, tapped over the top. Murphy first touch, so Ingstrom will set. Mullins picks up the kill. Should be noted as well, that is now 12 kills for Tasman Mullins, putting her one behind the team lead as she looks to try and finish this game with the team lead in every category. Well,
and the team leader in kills on the day, Maddie LaFata, is not on the court right now. She's just not in her turn and rotation.
Gonna try and close this one out. Attack from Wagner, Ingstrom the dig. Set up by Murphy, attacked by Stevens, dug out that time by Wilhelm. Torslow plays this one over. Follow up. And the kill for Smith. Rayleigh Smith picking up the kill in the critical moment, and Dartmouth now 2 points away. Siena will take their last time out to try and talk it over and get themselves back into this one. Trying to stay alive here in set number 4.
Yeah, you got to use it here. You have no choice. You're 2 points away from losing this match, one that you've competed in all game long, and you've given yourselves a heck of a shot. Played a great game, too. You don't have much room for error. So, for Coach Askew Favia, I think the message is just lock in. You have to play smart.
And that has to be the message. You don't want to give free points the other way. Taking a look at that play by Smith, able to pick up that kill. But for Dartmouth, a lot of positives to take away from the way they played today. But the question is, you feel a lot better if you can come out of this timeout, execute, and put an end to it. Don't want to let Siena get back into this one.
Yeah, Dartmouth is so close. They just have to push for 2 more points. And they've got the momentum at their backs right now to do that.
Roberts will have the serve out of the timeout. Dartmouth needing 2 points to take set 4 and the win. Finds the net. Exactly the result you'd want coming out of the timeout.
That's the last thing you want to do if you're Dartmouth. A free point. Siena now just needs 2 more to tie. And at that point, you're essentially playing extra points, even though you just need to reach 25, win by 2.
Siena has done themselves well in that they still have a timeout remaining. So if Dartmouth does pick up a point here, they could take it. We'll see if they elect to do that. Going to come back to Mullins. She picks up a pivotal kill here to put Dartmouth on match point.
Honestly, if I'm Siena, why not use your timeout right now?
Might want to save it because it could potentially, if you execute correctly, turn into a 24-24 situation where you might want to use it to try and draw something up. Gonna take some effort though. Mullins now up to 13 kills, tied for team lead. Also leads the team with 3 service aces today. And we're gonna end it off a service ace. It's Emma Ingstrom putting an end to this one, and Dartmouth takes it 25-21. They go undefeated at their home invitational and move to 7-2 on the season off the hand that time of Emma Ingstrom.
Siena gave them a big challenge. You won your 5-set marathon last night. Do you avoid the hangover? How do you reset mentally ahead of the third match you've played in 3 days? And Dartmouth made their mistakes. They didn't play a perfect game, but when they needed to step up, they did. And they are deserved winners.
Looking ahead on the schedule for these two teams, Dartmouth will be playing Harvard on Friday night at 7 o'clock, whereas Siena will open up Metro Atlantic play on the road against Canassus at noon. And Canassus, a team ranked just above them, 2 spots above them in the preseason poll. Should be a good game for them.
I think so, and I think Siena proved throughout this tournament that they're a lot better than their record shows. If they can take the lessons they've learned from this tournament and go with some steam into MAC play, they'll take Canisius down.
Well, for Brandon Brajarski alongside Ryan Zimmerman, we'd like to thank our whole crew for being out here with us today, helping us cover these 2 terrific games. Final score of this one, Dartmouth 3 sets to